You want to get nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts.
Mitch, you don't have any nuts, but, you got peanut butter.
Thanks, Zach.
Hi, friends.
I'm Zach.
I'm Mitch.
And we are Excellent Little Podcasts.
We are here presenting you a little movie podcast starring Zach and Mitch.
Mitch, I think we're doing a podcast.
And I think my mic is having issues here.
Oh, yep, it's all right, though. But don't worry, we're still bringing you some Excellent Little Podcasts after a little bit of a week hiatus because if you look,
We have stuff.
We've got new stuff.
We do have new stuff.
We've got lighting.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a new background.
Zach got new tires.
Yeah, that's what stopped us from Transformers, which Transformers
Not too bad.
Not too bad. I would say probably
But we are reviewing The Flash now.
Yeah, that we are.
Yeah.
So
This is brief summary. Barry Allen uses his super speed to change the past, but his attempt to save his family creates a world without superheroes, forcing him to race for his life in order to save the future. Studio, brought to you by Warner Brothers Discovery. Director, Andy Muschietti, the director of It and It Chapter 2. Screenplay, Christina Hodson and Joby Harold. Duration is about 2 hours and 24 minutes.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Mitch, is it okay if I split up the episode?
Sure, fire away.
All right. So we'll go ahead and split it up into 3 different sections. We'll start with our non-spoiler section where we'll talk about non-spoilery things like cast performances, any small things that you might have seen in the trailer. Then we'll go ahead and get into our review where Mitch will go ahead and break down how we review things once we get there.
Sure.
And then we'll move into our spoiler section. But
right, Zach.
we have to first get into our first thoughts. Mitch, what are your first thoughts on The Flash?
This was a byproduct of a lot of stuff going against it.
Well, that's true. That is true.
I enjoyed it, but I'm glad I didn't put it in my top 10. That's for darn sure. Like I did last year after it got delayed, or before it got delayed. I'm going to save my full opinion for the review.
Oh,
So, Zach, go ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely had its fair share of rewrites for sure.
Yeah.
It's because that was its first main reason for all of its delays. Then 2020 happened, and then Ezra Miller happened, and now we're here. It's now finally come. It's a long road coming, and a lot of people were touting this as one of the best superhero films to ever come. Nah. Especially coming off the heels of Across the Spider-Verse. Nah, it doesn't even light up close to that. Yeah, this film has issues, and it does have good things too, but let's go ahead and move into our cast performances to kind of sort through what's kind of going on
so
here.
So first up is Ezra Miller. They play Barry Allen, the Flash.
That they do. So
they were good.
Were they though?
To me, they were.
I mean, they were okay. They started out not so great at the beginning of this movie. I'm not going to lie. But as the movie went, their performance did get better, I feel. I also feel because of what happens in the script, it allowed them to actually play into a lot of different things, which helped really kind of grow that character a little bit more. I'm not going to lie. I think I've seen this character still done better not only by Ezra in prior movies, but also in other media as well.
Such as the Flash TV show on the CW, but played by Grant Gustin.
And that comes down to a multitude of things, of course, but I feel Ezra did get better through this film, but I also feel like not only did the script kind of fail him at the beginning of this film, but also they just were not having it all together.
But I want to talk about the next cast member. I've been wanting to talk about him for a while. Michael Keaton returns as Bruce Wayne in Batman.
Yeah.
Man, was he fun to watch. He was really fun to watch. I can now understand why a lot of people loved him when he put on the cape and cowl in 1989 and 1992, and everyone was so disappointed when he left the franchise. But now he's back, and oh boy, I can't say much without giving anything away, but he was really fun to watch.
He really was, and he really did give this really solid performance as Bruce Wayne, and kind of did kick you in the nostalgia if you really have
It really did.
watched the Tim Burton stuff. So it really felt well.
But this next one, I was actually surprised. It was Sasha Calle, I think that's her name. She plays Kara Zor-El, Supergirl. She was really wonderful in this one.
Really good.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
She actually doesn't have a whole lot of screen time in this movie,
Sadly.
but she really does a really wonderful job. It's really heartfelt, really well done, and you actually get to see a lot of dimension in this character for not so much screen time, which I was really, really excited to see.
So there's our cast. Now it's time to talk about some other non-spoilery things. The first one that's up is the CGI.
It's rough, and I have to say,
Hold on. Yeah, it's bad.
you're paying for my dry cleaning now.
Yeah, and no, it's
y'all, like we've seen bad CGI, but
This is pretty bad.
This is on a new level.
especially come to that third act. To me, at least, it was pretty bad in the first two, but it really, I think this was a byproduct of this movie was rushed.
Yeah, well, and that's a weird thing too, because it wasn't.
No.
Like it had
At all.
all the chances.
It had all
to
the time,
polish it,
too, yeah.
Which again, we cannot do graphic design, but like this CGI was really rough to get through.
Yeah.
Another thing that is hit upon in this movie is time travel. That's kind of the entire point of the film is Barry Allen going back to
Save his mom.
It's done decently.
Yeah,
actually. And they do a really good job of explaining their rules of time travel, because I feel each movie that does time travel does it a bit differently.
Yes.
So I feel like they really did kind of do a good job of separating themselves from other ones. What did you kind of think of the time travel?
No,
on this?
I would really agree, especially, this is coming 4 years after Avengers Endgame, which did mess with time travel, and Marvel's still working on that time travel thing and multiverse thing. And really now, if you really think about it, DC was they were like producting this film as being their step into this time travel multiversal film.
Yep.
And they thought they were going to be first, but didn't work out that way.
Not all that much.
But it comes down to, I'm just going to go straight into our next topic.
Yeah.
And this is a not so great script.
No, it's one of the rare ones where I feel it gets better as the movie goes on.
I would agree.
But it takes a bit. First act is really not great.
Which is such a shame, because I really appreciate Andy Muschietti as a director. I really like his directing style, and it fit for this film, but he could only do so much with the script he was given.
And here's the thing, and that's the other thing too. I love Ben Affleck as Batman.
I did too.
This was not his best outing as well.
Yeah, the trailers
it's not
do
his
show it, yeah.
worst. It's not his worst, because believe me, Justice League was something else. But like,
yeah,
I enjoyed him so much more when he actually had the cowl off than when he has it on in this movie. And then we finally kind of move into the second act, where that starts to kind of pick things at least a little bit up, and then the third act really does bring this movie out of what would have been a catastrophe, I feel.
All right, so there's our non-spoiler section. So now it's time for our review.
Yeah, Mitch, we do things a bit differently here, don't we?
Because we don't like the grade system. We didn't really like school. So, I didn't like school. Did you?
No, well, go ahead and show them what we kind of do instead.
All right, so we have 3 categories and 2 phantom categories. Lowest one is, this film, we need to feed it to the dog, meaning we did not enjoy it all. We still think you need to see it and form your own opinion, but we did not enjoy it, and we don't recommend it. Next category is needs to cook a little more, meaning it might need a actor change, a script change, a director change, anything to get to that next category, which is eat it up, meaning we definitely recommend you see this film in theaters. We enjoyed it. If you can't see it in theaters, get on it right when streaming happens.
Yeah.
So without
Max, when it instead of HBO Max, just Max.
Zach, go right ahead.
Yeah, this needs to cook a little more.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now,
It's a multitude of things.
so this is also need to cook a little more for me. And this is the thing about this film. I remember when it was first announced back in 2014. It was going to come out in 2018. They didn't have a director. All we knew was Ezra Miller. They were going to play the Flash.
Yeah. And this is before we've really even seen much of the
Batman
Flash.
we didn't see Batman v Superman.
At that point, we'd only seen the little bit of like security cam footage.
That announcement came before Batman.
Oh,
v
you're
Superman.
right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So,
It did.
That movie came out, and then he made an appearance in Suicide Squad. So we're like, okay, we see now who's going to play the Flash.
Yeah.
Then multiple screenwriters came in, like Phil Lord and Chris Miller came in. Different directors came in, like Sam Raimi was tapped, Bob Zemeckis was tapped. This film is a byproduct of so many different voices and so many different screenwriters and so many different scripts and so many different director visions. And I'm just thinking, this film was doomed from the start almost. And it was only saved by a good Andy Muschietti directed film. And this film is just, there was so much just spit at it.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, and literally everyone was like, oh, we got to make this. And here it is. It's almost a near pile of dog shit. But it's cook a little more for me.
Yeah. And the weird thing too is that it started steering right when it kind of got into the fan servicey stuff.
Yes.
Which is weird. Normally fan service does not save a movie, but for some reason this one kind of did. And I'm not going to lie, it also kind of hurt a little bit that a lot of this was supposed to be like, oh, this is going to steer the DCEU in the right direction. This movie does not do that at all.
No.
In fact, if I'm quite honest, let it die with the DCEU.
Yeah.
Let this be the last little stamp out of the DCEU and James Gunn just start fresh.
Yeah, I would agree.
Just start fresh. Don't even touch this franchise anymore. Do the Flash.
Yeah.
Do a Flash movie again. Just
Ezra
scrap
Miller.
anything that you did with this.
Yeah. All right. So before we go into our next section, go ahead and leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, all the other fun stuff. Follow our other social media accounts: Instagram, Facebook, Twitch.
Yeah.
It's really late, so that's why we're really struggling. So it's spoiler time.
Spoiler time. So, I'm trying to do my best impression of the CW theme, but it's meh.
So Batman and Supergirl die,
which I was like, I kind of like that being a fixed point in time. Like,
I did too.
If you're gonna have a fixed point in this world, that's kind of a cool one to have.
Yeah, they've died in the battle against Zod, which Zod was worthless in this film.
He was. I liked having Michael Shannon in it.
He didn't want to be there,
but you could tell he didn't want to be there. You could tell that he felt useless in this film.
Young Barry is the villain, meaning so Barry goes back in time. Yeah,
which it makes sense, but it
didn't hit for me.
It didn't hit, and like the second that like he started getting like debris shot in him, I was like, oh, yeah, that's what's kind of going on.
And he later dies against himself.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah, it was really
then
weird.
we see multiple DC worlds.
This was cool.
So
they did this one really well.
You see the 50s Superman, George Reeves.
With Jay Garrick as the Flash.
Yeah, you see that.
In Another World.
You see Christopher Reeve, which that was really neat.
Yeah.
You do see Adam West. And then you see Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage's Superman movie that just did not happen due to a whole bunch of reasons.
It was weird.
It was weird. It was cool. It was cool to finally see it realized, but
it was weird.
It was weird.
Meaning the CGI was pretty bad.
Which also the CGI was not helping. But it's so weird because you got to really see almost all the worlds with the exception of the Chris Nolan universe, which was really kind of interesting. But that was kind of really cool. But then the biggest, weirdest
I swear to God.
trip that you could have taken was taken, which...
So he goes... Flash comes back to his normal timeline.
Or what we think.
We think, yeah. And his dad is released from prison. Mm-hmm. He gets a call from Bruce Wayne. And I hear a voice. You hear,
and they're being coy. They're making sure that he doesn't have long lines, so that you can't hear the voice well. He has 2 to 3 word lines.
But I hear it, and I notice it's different.
I'm like, that's not Bruce. That's
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. It doesn't really sound like Michael Keaton.
So I'm like, who the hell? Who is that? And all of a sudden, it's George Clooney. And everybody in the crowd, myself included, were just, and this is Barry's reaction. Who the fuck is this? And I'm just, and this goes into my next topic. Does this have DCEU repercussions?
I hope fucking not.
I don't want.
I really hope fucking not. I'm not gonna lie. It would be the greatest comeback story ever for George Clooney. Like, that would be great.
No,
but I really hope not.
Because here he comes, and
I don't need bat nipples. I really don't need bat nipples in my life again.
And Barry Allen's like, "You're not Batman," and George is like, "What's the matter with you?" Meaning, no one knows his identity.
Yeah.
So
he's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm literally asking. What are you doing?
And he had a beard too.
Well, he looked good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's George Clooney.
But
no.
Y'all, is that really what you wanted to end and move into the next phase of your DC Cinematic Universes with George Clooney?
This is what I think happened. They wanted Christian Bale. I think they wanted Christian Bale, but Christian Bale said no. So who is next in line?
Who's the only other Batman that's alive?
Well, Val Kilmer's alive, but he doesn't have a voice. But George Clooney. And George Clooney's like, yeah, let's do it. But God.
Yeah, again, this movie wasn't a complete waste of time. I definitely recommend you guys see it.
Form your own opinion.
You should form your own opinion. It's not a feed it to the dog,
no,
but it's
weird.
It needs to cook for sure.
I mean, by a day.
But y'all, thanks so much for listening.
Yeah, leave a comment. Let us know what you think of it. Let us know who your favorite Batman is.
Yeah,
you see 3 versions in this one. Leave us a like. Give us a comment, subscribe.
Do it all. But until the next one, my friends, which we are literally about to shoot in just a few minutes.
No spoilers.
I'm Zach.
I'm Mitch.
And we are
Excellent Little
Podcast.